Tonight, cloudburst in Kenora.
Like, we have had some floods, but nothing like this.
How people in and around the Western Ontario town are recovering after a month's worth of rain comes down in a matter of hours. Also tonight, preparing for the peak. Minnedosa shores up its defenses as the Little Saskatchewan River continues to rise. Plus,
and it's clear that they're now turning their mind to making long-term decisions regarding where they intend to produce.
How many Canadian manufacturers are considering shifting their operations south of the border? And what's behind the upheaval?
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm John Hendricks. Marilee is away. More violent thunderstorms lashed areas of Manitoba and northwestern Ontario Monday. Kenora residents are cleaning up after almost an entire month's worth of rain fell in just 2 hours. CTV's Harrison Shin toured the area today and has this report.
Alana Mindewigan and her family in Kenora, Ontario are piling things up in their backyard. The water in her basement was waist high after the Monday's storm.
It started in the toilet and the shower, and then after that it started coming through the basement door, and then my cousin's wall caved in.
And the timing couldn't be worse. She had just moved much of their belongings into the basement for a renovation. She lived in the area for 15 years and says she hasn't seen anything like this before.
We have had some floods, but nothing like this. Like, we just had a little bit of flooding in our basement bathroom, and that's it.
Environment and Climate Change Canada issued a tornado warning Monday afternoon. It says in a usual season, this area gets around 100 to 120 millimeters of rain in a month.
We had about 90 millimeters of rain received in the Kenora area. So a huge amount of rain received in a 2-hour time span between about 2 and 4 p.m.
And the storm impacted nearby cottage country as well. Here in Laclou, water washed one of the main highways, Route 641. Trees also fell over, blocking the road. The area's volunteer fire chief was busy picking up the pieces.
I have never seen anything like this, not around here. I have seen it other places, but not in our little community of Laclou.
Bennett says the washed out road has been restored and tree debris are all moved out. For the city of Kenora, crews are still working to recover from sewer backups, flooding, and more. For Mindewigan, it's going to be a recovery costing thousands of dollars.
We're going to clean it all up, and I don't know, we're waiting on, I guess, home insurance.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Kenora, Ontario.
Here in Manitoba, Minnedosa is in a state of emergency as the Little Saskatchewan River is rising. The water now threatens low-lying areas and sandbags are shoring up existing dikes. CTV's Joseph Bernaghi spoke to residents there who faced off against 2 major floods in the past. But this time around, people have had a chance to prepare for the worst.
In the town of Minnedosa, it's a race against time and Mother Nature. Teams of volunteers are sandbagging along the Little Saskatchewan River. For residents, as water levels rise, so do fears.
The last 2 floods, terrifying, traumatizing.
Heather Hamilton lives with her mother across from the river in town. Her family lost everything in their basement from the 2020 and 2022 floods. It's why she isn't fooling around this time.
The last 4 days I have been packing my basement and hauling everything upstairs. My mom's 86. She's stressed out for sure. It's bringing back some awful memories, definitely.
John Mendrickus is helping where he can. He says this time around, they might have a chance.
Sandbagging and the emergency action has been going on for a few days now, and we've got a head start compared to 4 years ago.
Still, there is cause for concern. This was the town's bison enclosure near the Minnedosa Dam late Sunday afternoon. And here it is on Tuesday, flooding out this morning, leaving the bison on a partial island. Emergency officials say the town is not out of the woods yet.
PTH 10 River has peaked So therefore, we're expecting a lot of that water to come down through our spillway. And so we are urging our residents to remain off of the rivers and the trails.
You can never predict exactly how water reacts, but which should tell us that we might receive the peak tomorrow. We don't know that for sure, though.
Meantime, Minnedosa Mayor Ken Cameron says the province is monitoring the dam. He says they still need more volunteers.
We still will be on our toes for the next 48 hours for sure and beyond, depending on the reports.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Minnedosa.
CTV's Taylor Brock joins us now live with your first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And Taylor, I know those communities are definitely hoping that there will be no more rain in the near future.
Well, they will be very happy to hear, John, that that's what it appears to be over the next few days. I was tracking, pardon me, a system. You can see it just behind me here, moving across northern the United States. Didn't actually stretch to here in Winnipeg or Manitoba. So some good news for the province as a whole. We aren't expecting to see really any rain at all over the next few days, including here in Winnipeg. And today, actually, we had a mostly cloudy day, actually just right at seasonal, with temperatures feeling like 25 degrees as the high throughout the day.
The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Right now in Winnipeg, it is 23 degrees and feeling like that 25 mark with the humidity. As you can see, quite cloudy throughout the day. We are going to see those clear up late in the evening, however, with light winds right now with pressurizing humidity at 49%.
Thanks, Taylor. A woman is dead following a motorcycle crash in Whiteshell Provincial Park. Police say it happened on Highway 44 near Provincial Road 312 on Sunday evening. That's about 7 kilometers north of West Hawk Lake. Officers say a group of motorcycles were heading east on Highway 44 when one lost control and flipped in a ditch. The driver of the motorcycle, a 56-year-old woman from Steinbach, was taken to hospital but was later pronounced dead. The investigation continues. The Walmart at St. Vital Center is closed indefinitely after a fire broke out Monday evening. This was the scene outside of the store shortly after 7 p.m. Video sent to CTV News shows crowds gathering in the parking lot with a handful of fire trucks out front. The city says the fire was mostly extinguished by the building's sprinkler system by the time crews arrived. No injuries were reported and no damage estimates were immediately available. The cause remains under investigation. On social media, the mall says the Walmart will remain closed until further notice. Another Winnipeg City Council seat is up for grabs.
Feeling that there are good people here at City Hall to continue on the work, and with the projects that I've initiated and completed, I feel it's time to move on.
Marcus Chambers has announced he will not be seeking re-election. Chambers has represented the St. Norbert-St. River ward since 2018 and has served as deputy mayor and police board chair over his 8 years on council. Chambers says he will step away after this term to focus on his family.
You know, I am very passionate about this work here at City Hall and making sure that, you know, we're moving in the right direction as a city, but not being able to give that 100% of my time because I want to devote that to my family is the reason why I'm stepping back.
Chambers says that will include supporting his wife through cancer treatments and becoming a new grandparent. Janice Lukes, Brian Mays, and John Orlico have also announced they will not be running this fall. Now, coming up a little later in the show, I'll speak with a political scientist about the impact of all these open races. Businesses in Canada may be eyeing a move south of the border. A new survey from KPMG shows 4 in 10 manufacturing companies have already moved production to the U.S. or are thinking about it. Now, this comes as the trade war continues with the United States. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, why are businesses jumping ship?
Tariffs, trade uncertainty, and higher operating costs and red tape on this side of the border. Close to the border in Crystal City, Fiber Manufacturing makes farm equipment. CEO Derek Friesen says the trade war with the United States has taken a toll.
Market uncertainty has been one of our bigger ones. All the tariff rhetoric and not knowing what to do for prices, how they're going to be impacting us. That's definitely been a challenge.
On top of that, he says red tape on this side of the border is killing competitiveness. Because of these burdens, he's contemplated a move.
If this current climate with government and stuff like that continues, at some point we'll have to consider going south.
Fiber is not alone.
Companies are looking to shift some or all of their production to the U.S.
A KPMG survey shows 42% of manufacturers surveyed say they have already moved production to the U.S. or are considering it. 57% have paused, reduced, or canceled projects, and 11% say they plan to move their headquarters south within the next 5 years.
There is, the potential that these Canadian companies are going to start redeploying that capital investment into the U.S., and certainly it's a trend that we should continue to monitor.
The survey says the top reasons for the moves are to avoid tariffs, because of trade uncertainty, and lower operating costs and taxes in the U.S.
Businesses are committed to Canada, but prolonged uncertainty is causing them to think about where they invest.
The Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters says a good trade deal would be ideal, but in the meantime, tariff relief measures should continue, and federal and provincial governments need to reassure manufacturers.
So anything the governments can do to help incentivize those investments so that people are making those choices, everything from making, making the regulatory processes easier.
The survey also found manufacturers remain dependent on the U.S. market, with 61% saying their business cannot survive without access.
Jeff, does the survey break down the responses for here in Manitoba?
Sort of. There are numbers for Manitoba and Saskatchewan together, but KPMG says the sample size is too small for reporting purposes. Still, they say those results were similar to the overall national trend.
Very disturbing. All right, thanks, Jeff. The City of Winnipeg will need to reduce funding for its urban forest renewal program this year. The cutback comes after the province directed it to allocate funds to the Assiniboine Park Conservancy's Journey to Churchill exhibit.
Well, I wish we didn't have to make this decision. I wish the province would have contributed an additional $1.2 million from their budget to fund this, so the council wouldn't be put in a position to make a decision to reduce the budget in some other program.
An amendment before the Executive Policy Committee says the money for the exhibit was not in the 2026 capital budget and will need to be offset to maintain a balanced budget. It'll have to come from the money allocated for tree planting work, reducing that budget to just over $9.8 million. Now, while that will delay the implementation of the Winnipeg Urban Forest Strategy, the mayor says the program remains a priority.
If you take a look at our urban forest budget, where it was a couple years ago as to where it is today, we have increased it significantly, almost 30% over the last couple of years.
The additional money allocated to the Assiniboine Park Conservancy as a capital grant will increase its budget to $9 million. The plan for the exhibit includes replacement of the pool filtration and other systems. They'll also conduct a review of building conditions and make capital investments and do other work, such as painting. The Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service is warning people not to consume any of the medications from a paramedic bag that was stolen today. Now, this is what it looks like. The WFPS says none of the medications contain narcotics, and taking any of the drugs without supervision can be dangerous or even fatal. It says most of the medications are used for symptom relief and patient resuscitation. If you have any information about its whereabouts, you're being asked to contact the Winnipeg Police Service. The federal government is throwing its weight behind half a dozen local companies to expand the artificial intelligence sector.
We've got the talent here. We've got custom companies and entrepreneurs who are building great tech, but the challenge is adoption and capital.
That's the Federal Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation, Evan Solomon, speaking at an event hosted by the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce today. Nearly half of the $10 million in federal funding is going to TV Incorporated, so it can expand its ad replacement technology across North America. The AI-driven hardware is designed so businesses such as bars and restaurants can show their own ads over top of commercials that normally play on TV screens. The Manitoba Construction Sector Council is also getting a share of the money to establish a drone and sensor library for small and medium-sized construction companies.
There is some catch-up we need to do, but we also have opportunities to really leapfrog here in Manitoba, in particular around agriculture. We are an agricultural leader in of itself. Now you add in AI, we can do more than just feed the world. We can lead the world in how we do that with AI as well. Biosciences, life sciences is another area.
The funding is expected to support more than 170 jobs in the province across industries such as agriculture, construction, and manufacturing. 4 families now have the keys to new homes thanks to Habitat for Humanity Manitoba. The organization hosted a group key ceremony today at the Pandora Avenue West development in Transcona. It's the largest development in the organization's history and supports families with housing concerns. Residents put in 500 volunteer hours into building their homes and other areas of need, and their sweat equity serves as a down payment for the homes that they otherwise would not be able to afford.
We don't give houses away. What we do is we create a path that hardworking families can build independence and can build generational equity. And I've talked first of all about 500 hours. Our families, the position they're in, they're all coming from rentals. Many are coming from subsidized housing like Manitoba Housing. And they have a low income level. They're not able to save up enough for a down payment to purchase a house.
35 families have already moved into their new residences in the area, and the organization hopes to welcome the final 16 families home sometime later this year. Still to come tonight, Prime Minister Mark Carney reaffirms Canada's support for Ukraine on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Turkey.
This barbarism of Putin, which continues in recent days, will not succeed.
What's at stake during the key meeting among alliance members when we return. Taking a look at the markets now, crude oil added $1.89. The loonie rose to 70.43 cents U.S. Gold futures lost $10. The TSX gained 60 points. The Dow Jones fell 130, and the Nasdaq dropped 302. In breaking news this hour, the U.S. military has launched new strikes against Iran, hours after 3 merchant ships were struck in the Strait of Hormuz. It's the latest exchange of fire to threaten the interim deal to end the fighting between the two countries. Hours after the 3 tankers were struck, the U.S. revoked the license that had authorized the sale of Iranian oil as part of that interim deal to end the fighting. Well, Diageo, the maker of Crown Royal, says it has agreed to sell its bottling plant in southern Ontario. A spokesperson for the company says that while an agreement for the Amherstburg facility has been signed, details about the buyer will not be released. The plant was put up for sale after Diageo announced its closure, which impacted 200 jobs. In response, Premier Doug Ford threatened to pull Crown Royal off LCBO shelves, but backed down after Diageo agreed to spend $23 million in Ontario. Diageo has bottling and distribution facilities in Manitoba and Quebec and has said its Crown Royal products will still be mashed, distilled, and aged at Canadian facilities. Mark Carney is among the leaders in Turkey attending a major 2-day NATO summit with military spending targets and the war in Ukraine among the key issues. The Prime Minister was busy talking trade and talking to other leaders, plus keeping an eye on Donald Trump. Here's CTV's Graham Richardson.
The biggest issue here at NATO, especially for European allies, is the war in Ukraine. Russia bombing Kyiv the day before Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived here in Turkey. He met with Prime Minister Mark Carney today. Reports say 30 people died during the attack.
This barbarism of Putin, which continues in recent days, will not succeed.
That, coupled with U.S. President Donald Trump's anger with the alliance over a perceived lack of support for the American-Israeli war with Iran. Into this tense atmosphere, Canada trying to tell a positive story. It's getting help from the head of NATO. Today, the alliance confirming it will negotiate with Saab to buy more Global-I planes in what could be a lucrative partnership with Bombardier in Montreal.
This will ensure
we keep NATO's owned and operated surveillance and early warning capability strong and credible for decades to come.
Canadian officials are quick to counter the tension with their new spending, like Monday's announcement on subs and how they're deepening connections with NATO allies.
It means that we can each share crews, for example, on the submarines.
The consensus is Canada is in a much better position here than even a few months ago.
Remember that just a few summits ago, it was a question of reaching 2% of GDP in terms of defense spending. We've achieved that now.
That may be true, but again today, government officials would not say specifically how much all of this military spending will cost. Again today, the defense minister said that the submarine contract will grow the economy. Usually when you spend like this, you have three options: hike taxes, cut programs, or take on more debt. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ankara.
2 Canadian naval ships have set sail for Eastern Europe. Families and friends said goodbye to loved ones aboard the HMCS Edmonton and HMCS Moncton. The 2 coastal defense vessels steamed out of Halifax this morning to join other NATO partners in the North Atlantic for Operation Reassurance. The ships will be assigned 2 main objectives once they join other NATO members in the Baltics.
So primarily searching and conducting explosive ordnance disposal and EC mines we find. Secondary tasking is going to be the protection of critical undersea infrastructure, such as pipelines or undersea cables.
The 4-month tour has the 2 ships with their 90 crew members returning to Canada just in time for Halloween. British Columbia's Attorney General says the province is preparing legal action against OpenAI over the tech giant's potential role in the Tumbler Ridge mass shooting.
For their failure to notify law enforcement of the violent prompts made on its ChatGPT platform by their perpetrator prior to the tragedy in Tumbler Ridge. We've retained legal counsel in both BC and California to explore all avenues to hold OpenAI and its decision makers accountable. OpenAI is headquartered in California, and we are prepared to take this fight to them.
9 people died as a result of the shooting, including the shooter. She reportedly used OpenAI's ChatGPT chatbot to help prepare for the shooting. Prime Minister Mark Carney has appointed 4 people to the Senate, including a Manitoban. Chartered professional accountant and corporate executive Geeta Tucker was tapped for the position today. The PM's office says Tucker has held executive positions in finance, strategy, and communications and was previously chair of the Board of Trustees of United Way Winnipeg. Carney also appointed a senior Liberal strategist, Tom Pitfield, and a Conservative MP, Richard Martel. Martel is the 5th Conservative to leave his party's caucus since the last election. Carney also revealed that he is dropping the nonpartisan criteria for appointments. U.S. authorities say they've arrested 24 alleged members of organized crime groups based in India, including a man accused in the assassination of a Sikh leader in BC.
It's hard to overstate the importance of this operation today. This isn't a matter of just simply arresting a street dealer here or a gang member there. This is doing what the Department of Justice does best, dismantling organized criminal organizations.
Prosecutors allege Lawrence Bishnoi was behind the 2023 killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar outside a temple in Surrey. It's alleged he personally directed crimes from his jail cell in India. Police also say the arrests include 3 Canadians in BC. Authorities say the accused belonged to 3 criminal organizations involved in racketeering, extortion, drug trafficking, and violence. In New York City, urgent evacuations have been ordered in Manhattan after support beams buckled inside a high-rise under construction. This video shows where workers found the buckled beams on the 21st floor of a high-profile housing project. They also found multiple cracks and sagging floors. Here's what New York City Mayor Zohran Mardami had to say about the situation.
Our top priority right now is the safety of those who live in this area, the safety of those who work in this area, and DOB inspectors and engineers are on site working quickly to secure the site as well as that surrounding area.
The building and several others nearby, including a school, have been evacuated. Streets in the surrounding area have been blocked off. The former building is the former head of Pfizer, and it's currently being converted to housing. It's meant to be the largest office-to-housing conversion in New York City history. Los Angeles showcased a spectacular burst of fireworks Saturday night to celebrate July 4th, and the display was so bright it could be seen from space. This is what the fireworks look like from about 400 kilometers above the Earth. The crew on board the International Space Station captured these images as it passed over California. The orbit over Los Angeles gave 3 American astronauts on the ISS an amazing view as they celebrated their country's 250th birthday.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg has really cool culture.
How a Ukrainian TikTok star is embracing and documenting his new life in Winnipeg.
And still to come, the heat is on its way here in Manitoba. We are expecting temperatures to rise shortly after a fairly average day today here in Manitoba, including in Winnipeg. Temperatures, though, will rise for folks expected to come a little later throughout the week.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
You may not remember the first time you felt the biting cold of a prairie winter, or the first time you tasted honey dill sauce. But one Ukrainian TikTok star does, and he's capturing those moments as he settles into life in Canada. CTV's Daniel Homerson has his story.
Stopping by a market like St. Leon to load up on locally grown fruits and veggies is a summer staple for many Winnipeggers. And that's exactly why one of the city's newest residents is here.
As a kid, we used to take all the strawberries together and you mash it, you add sugar, sour cream, and on a fresh bread.
Ukraine-born Andrian Makhnacho is documenting his fish-out-of-water experience in Winnipeg, and he's sharing it with a massive following on social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram.
Honey dill sauce with chicken fingers. I had gold eye fish. I had some food. Yeah, I've been to museums. I was just trying to explore as much as possible.
Makhnacho fled Ukraine in 2022 when Russia invaded the country, and he ended up in Regina to live with his older brother.
I feel like my move to Canada was not really my decision. So when I came, I was like super depressed, angry. I was complaining a lot.
But those complaints turned into clicks as he dove deeper and deeper into Canadiana and the accompanying stereotypes.
Whenever I would go, there would be people saying, "We're sorry." But I just feel like most of Canadians, they're just so cute.
And after 4 years in Saskatchewan, he's now calling Manitoba home.
It's been only 6 days, but I already feel so welcomed. And yeah, I think people, that's what makes me feel like home. There's so many Ukrainians.
Makhnacho says his long-term goal is Canadian citizenship, but for now it's about crossing items off a bucket list and showing the world what the city and province has to offer.
I'm already going to Churchill to see polar bears, to see whales, so I think it's like an unbelievable thing to experience.
Daniel Homerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV's Taylor Brock is here with your complete Skywatch weather forecast. And Taylor, we have suffered through a lot of really bad weather recently, and it looks like some better times are ahead.
Well, I am definitely pleased to be delivering that news tonight. For really across the whole province, temperatures are warming up, and we are expecting actually no rain over the next few days. So if you are heading to church this week, the weather actually is looking pretty nice. We'll get to that in just a moment, though. Taking a look over, actually, because we had some technical difficulties with this long-range forecast, I'll quickly show you just how hot it's going to get here. Temperatures reaching about 31 degrees as the high on Saturday, slightly higher on Sunday, and really we're feeling that trend throughout Monday as well, with lots of sunshine. Now, taking a look over the province, just for the next couple of days, we are expecting some clouds hanging around in southern Manitoba tonight with this system here bringing some rain. However, it's going to push out overnight. At the same time, I know we're watching this big, huge storm system in the States. It's looking like it is not going to be pushing into Manitoba or northwestern Ontario and actually just sticking down south. Now, at the same time, we have actually a clear couple of days ahead for us. And as mentioned just a moment ago, very hot temperatures, especially here in Winnipeg. Watching this system here moving in across the prairies, we're going to actually see that once it hits Saskatchewan, it is going to be potentially some very severe thunderstorms for folks early in the morning on Thursday. Now, by the time it gets just to our border here, as you can see, it eases up a little. There is that chance, though, that it could bring some scattered showers, particularly in the west. Here in Winnipeg, though, we aren't expecting any rain on Thursday or really over the next week. We are seeing tonight temperatures reaching an expected low of 13 degrees with a mostly cloudy sky, really what we saw today. Tomorrow morning, though, starts off sunny with 16 degrees as the temperature to start us off. But it's going to jump all the way to 29 degrees as the high with a mainly sunny sky in the afternoon. So make sure you are staying cool if you are heading outside. I'll show you what's going on really quickly across the province here. As we saw just a second ago, potential for that rain tonight in Churchill with 10 degrees as the low. However, mostly cloudy tomorrow. A little cooler in Churchill with 13 degrees as the high, but just to the south, 23 degrees as the high tomorrow. So much warmer, actually. Very much the same in Lynn Lake. However, tomorrow will be warmer in places like Flin Flon and the Paw with 26 degrees as the expected high. And taking a look over in the Westman region, Brandon, 12 degrees as your low tonight, 26 as the high tomorrow throughout this whole region, actually. Here in Winnipeg overnight, as we mentioned a second ago, 13 degrees will be our low with that very 28 high. And we are going to be seeing a mostly sunny sky for folks with a few clouds rolling in the afternoon. Folks over in Kenora, 26 degrees as your expected high tomorrow. Really the same for the whole region. Lots of sunshine as well. Taking a look at our Skywatch pick of the day. This one comes to us thanks to Mary. This shot in Grand Beach actually looks like cotton candy clouds. And taking a look at this next photo, also a beautiful lake shot. Thank you to Lise for sending in a view that a lot of us actually don't get to see because it's actually apparently a fly-in fishing area. So you can send your weather photos, whether it is in some more remote areas or just your own backyard, to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
My family tells me I was very relaxed. I even smiled as I woke up.
A new approach to pain relief after heart surgery. The alternative to opioids getting rave reviews from patients who took part in a study.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The Civic election is still months away, but we already know that Winnipeg City Council will look very different when all the votes are counted. Experienced councillors Marcus Chambers, Janice Lukes, John Orlico, and Brian Mays have all announced that they will not run for re-election. Joining us now to talk about this is political scientist and the rector of St. Paul's College at the University of Manitoba, Chris Adams. Thanks so much for joining us today, Chris.
Hi, John. Nice to be with you again. And I'm speaking as a political scientist, not as the rector of my college.
Absolutely. With so many incumbents stepping aside, what kind of an impact do you think that will have on the actual election? Could this drive more voter turnout?
Yes, I think so. You know, when you look at past civic elections, in the wards in which there was not an incumbent, those are the wards that typically had higher turnout. And often it's because there's competition for that seat. It's not just the sense that the incumbent will just win again. Why would you go out to vote? And also there'll be competition for those seats. That is, there'll be multiple candidates running for that seat. So they will be working very hard to get out the votes. So I expect again in this election that with many people not running again, that we'll see higher turnouts across the city in those wards.
With at least 4 new faces, this will be a very different city council. Do you think that this could mean that there will be a new direction or new priorities for the city going forward?
Well, I'm not so much about, not so sure about new priorities, but you know that the mayor really sets those priorities, but also has to get along with his senior councillors who he brings into his executive group. But I do see that these are veterans. Many of these are veterans who've been around for many years, who the mayor has relied on for their expertise. And I'm thinking in particular of Janice Lukes as well as Marcus Chambers in working on the portfolio relating to the police. So, you know, so I do see that the mayor will have to seek out people with experience to work in these difficult areas of work. So the other thing too is with fresh faces, though, we'll be getting a lot of new people coming in to replace these veterans who've decided not to run again. I think we might see a certain energy that might come into the chamber, and also might help the mayor get energized as well. But I think we have to not assume that the Mayor Gillingham will be reelected. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he's going to be dealing with a council with newbies, but it's not confirmed that he's going to be reelected. Like right now, he is the incumbent, and he has a real advantage, and people know his name. But we still have a long time through the summer to see if somebody might step forward from sort of like the more fringe candidates, but somebody who's not a fringe candidate stepping forward to run against him. So a lot of things are up in the air come this fall.
So as you say, with rookie councillors, a potential rookie mayor, do you anticipate that there could be any hiccups or slowdowns as the new councillors learn their jobs?
Yes, well, I suspect that the mayor would put a person into responsibilities that are the more heavier responsibilities, such as development in the city, transportation, public transportation, the police commission, those sorts of areas. So I think that he will be looking as to who has the experience, but he has a couple of veterans on his council. Jeff Barati, for instance, has been dealing with finance for a number of years, and that's in place, and that can be one of the most difficult areas. But he will likely bring in people who have a background. Like some of the new people will bring their own backgrounds into city council with their own experience. As you know, John, running for city council is not an easy job. You don't have a political party backing you up. You have to have some real skills, and you have to be able to deal with the public in a good way. So there'll be people stepping forward who will have some experience in their private sector life or other levels of government, who will bring their own expertise. So we'll just have to see who gets elected to city council.
Some exciting times to come. We're going to have to leave it there. And a reminder, Election Day is on Wednesday, October 28th. Chris Adams, thank you so much for your insight today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Take care of yourself.
Emergency departments in Toronto felt the weight of last week's heat wave, with nearly 40 visits blamed directly on the scorching temperatures. Toronto hospitals reported a total of 39 heat-related ER visits between June 30th and July 4th. Now, that included 15 ER visits on one day. The health authority said the highest temperature during the heat wave was 36 degrees Celsius, and the highest humidex reading was 48. And now it also noted that ER data does not capture all of the health effects linked to extreme heat, such as worsening cardiac and respiratory conditions. Cardiac patients understandably have a lot of worries about surgery, and pain is a big one. But new techniques at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto are showing excellent results while minimizing exposure to opiate medications. CTV's Pauline Chan has the details.
So first of all, we want to...
Heart surgeon Dr. Subodh Verma says fear of pain can sometimes be so great, patients hesitate at life-saving surgery.
And as a result of that, a number of people every year at our institution choose alternatives, i.e. either we won't have surgery or we'll have something else done, but don't open my chest.
They said you have severe blockages of the heart arteries and you will need surgery.
Back in 2024, Ernie Cole faced heart surgery, and post-operative pain was a big fear.
My close friend told me that they wanted to die the first day after surgery. It was so painful.
Dr. Ahmed Ali says during surgery they must cut through the breastbone, which is later wired back together.
But there is still a little bit of degree of movement, and that causes a significant amount of pain. And the pain is usually managed with opioid medication.
Unlike the gases and other anesthetic medications available, opiates used to offer more reliable effects on things like blood pressure. But Ernie was part of a recent study testing the use of nerve blocks, a form of local anesthesia, in heart surgery. The study looked at 340 patients over the past couple of years in Toronto, Halifax, Calgary, and Vancouver.
Quite frankly, it was amazing. Obviously I still had pain, but I woke up very easily from the anesthesia, and my family tells me I was very relaxed. I even smiled as I woke up.
Our local anesthetic technique has shown that we could provide the same degree of pain relief and reduce the opioid medication in the hospital significantly.
1 in 10 people who are exposed to opioids develop a dependency on the drug.
If cardiac surgery can be the first exposure for opioids for people, then heart surgeons also have the responsibility of finding solutions to limit that exposure.
Dr. Verma hopes their study will lead to new pain relief guidelines to reduce the use of opiates in heart surgeries across Canada and beyond. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Coster Denture Clinic.
Manitoba's Fauzia, unlike you've heard her before, who she's collaborating with for a special one-night-only show in front of the hometown crowd. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Las Vegas headliner Terry Fader.
A truly made in Manitoba collaboration is going to take the stage in Winnipeg this fall. Fauzia, who hails from Carmen, will be joining the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra for one special night only. The internationally recognized singer's latest album, Film Noir, has been reimagined for a full symphony, bringing another level of depth to her work. The show is set for November 27th at Burn Cummings Theatre. General sale tickets are available Thursday. Just head to wso.ca or Ticketmaster. Now, Tilly Norwood looks like a typical Instagram influencer, but she's actually not even real. She's AI generated and is now getting her own movie. It's called Misaligned. Particle 6 in the London-based studio created her, and they're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. In the film, Norwood is aware she isn't real and exists in a digital world called the Tillyverse. Her existence caused a bit of a stir in Hollywood last year, but Particle 6 says making the film is proving you still need a lot of human input to tell a story, and AI is just a tool to help you get there. Meanwhile, actor Keanu Reeves has the need for speed in the upcoming streaming series.
What are we getting ourselves into?
What you're doing is not easy. If it makes noise and the parts turn, it breaks.
Reeves revs up one of his own motorcycles in Hooligans, the Arch Racing Project. The 6-part series follows Reeves and Gard Hollander, who co-founded Arch Racing as they roll into the world of professional motorcycle racing. The series debuts Sunday on Samsung TV Plus. And your Tuesday primetime lineup starts at 7 with The Big Bang Theory. Password comes next at 8. Then an all-new season of The Amazing Race Canada premieres at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The 2026 World's Most Livable Cities list is out. We'll tell you which one topped the list and which Canadian city cracked the top 10 when we return.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
It was a beautiful day today in Winnipeg as temperatures reached a high of 23 degrees. With these warmer temperatures, though, we are going to be seeing over the next few days it to rise so much so that by Saturday, a high of 31 degrees is expected.
Well, finally for us tonight, the world's most livable city for 2026 has been revealed. And Copenhagen has taken the top spot on the annual list from the Economist Intelligence Unit for the second year running. The Danish capital beat out Vienna, Austria, which had previously had a 3-year run at the top. The organization ranked 173 cities around the world on a number of different factors, including education, stability, healthcare, and culture. Vancouver was the only North American city to crack the global top 10, and it was in the 9th spot. Sadly, Winnipeg did not make the top 10. I'm sure we were probably number 11. That's my guess.
We've got more opportunities, though.
Next year.
So, exactly.
We'll get it next year. And we will see you again at 11:30. Hope you can join us then. Good night.